one you haven't heard yet.
Okay, now we're starting class. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Is it focused okay?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle.
Not fully in the middle. There, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Today is the second last day of Kartik. Today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday, and it is Chaturdasi. Tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, day after tomorrow is Sunday. It is the Purnima. And on that day, Krishna also danced Ras Lila on that Purnima. It's also called Sri Krishna Rasa Yatra. And that is the day that we no longer continue to abstain from various food items that we were following our vrat. And there's one particular one that everybody's talking about. Which one? So we'll have some very nice program on Sunday and celebration of the Kartik, whole Kartik month, and remembrances of Srila Gurudev. Tomorrow is also a disappearance day of one of our very esteemed, exalted Acharya, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosvāmī Maharaj. So we'll have Katha about him, and there's one other as well. Kashishwara Pandit, yes, Kashishwara. And one more? Okay. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padatamam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhuveva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Namo mahabhajanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namane gaura tvishe namaha. Nityanandam namastubhyam premananda pradayane kalau kalamashanashaya janavapataye namaha. Ajanulambita bhujo kanakavadato samkirtanaika pitaro kamalaya taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Jugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Gaudo Daye Pushpavanto Chitro Shamdo Tamonudo Panchatadavatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatavate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Angashyamali Machatabhi Rabito Mandi Kritendi Varam Jadyam Jagudarochi Samvidadatam Pattam Varasya Shriya Vrindaranya Nivasanam Hridilasad Dama Biramodaram Radha Skandani Veshito Jalabujam Dhyayim Damodaram Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Bakshai Kshiptashtrakamadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Brinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Govinda Jiva Kinjaya. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Gosvāmī Maharaj, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Astotara Sata Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Maharaj. And I'm offering my Dandavat Pranams to all of my Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis.
Tomorrow is Bhugarbha Goswami's.
Bhugarbha Goswami and Kashishwara Pandit. And Rasa Yatra. No, that's on Sunday. Yeah. Okay. So, we are returning back to our Braj Mandala Parikrama. And we're going to have to extend it another month to complete our Braj Mandala Parikrama. So, let's continue our Parikrama around Radhakunda. Because yesterday we left off at the place which is known as Julantala. They have map here also, you can see where it is around the kundas. So this is on the western side. And do you remember what happened at Julan Tala? Julan means swing.
Is that where Sanatana Goswami saw Radharani and said, "Oh, you have a snake"?
Yes. Yes. Because they were sitting on she was sitting on a swing. Yes, Julan. So now there's a section called Some of the Surrounding Temples. And this is very important for us, because even to this day I have not spent enough time at Radhakunda and gone on Brikama enough times to be able to completely exactly remember what samadhis are here and there. Some I remember, but not all. So here now Srila Gurudev is giving us this description. Near a Kadamba tree in the southwestern part of Sri Radhakunda. So there is an ancient temple of Sri Radha Krishna. And according to hearsay, the mendicant Sri Das Goswami found these deities of Sri Radha Krishna while he was renovating the Kunda, and he gave them to the Brajvasis to worship and serve. So there is that temple. Then nearby, in the northwestern part of the Sri Krishna Kunda, which means Shama Kunda, also called Sri Krishna Kunda. So there is the temple of Sri Shama Sundar, the worshipful deity of Sri Shamananda Prabhu. Then north of this temple is Sri Jiva Goswami's worshipful deity, Sri Radha Damodar. And north of that temple is Srinivas Acharya Prabhu's place of bhajan. There is a deity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here, east of Sri Shama Sundar's temple, in the northern part of Sri Radha Kunda. And there is the ghat and the sitting place of Sri Janava Thakurani. No, Nartam, don't go around during class. So, we talked about that yesterday, or the day before, concerning Ananga Manjari, remember? So that is just on the outside of the temple of Raghunath Das Goswami Samadhi, that one. So near to her ghat, Janava Thakurani's sitting place and ghat, is the temple of Sri Gopinath. And adjacent to that temple is Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's place of residence and his Pushpa Samadhi. Pushpa Samadhi. So that's all in one building now. That Gopinath temple and altar. And then there's kind of like an open hall. That's where Gurudev, we would all sit. And we would have the Harikatha there. And then just at the far end of that building is the Samadhi of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Proceeding from here, one comes to the temple of Sri Govinda Dev. Near this temple is the Shila of Sri Giriraj's tongue. Do you know what that's called in Sanskrit? Jiva, not Jiva, because Jiva means spirit soul. Jiva, Jihva, Jiva, Jiva Shila. And on the eastern bank of Radhakunda is the Bhajan Kuti of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And near this, to the east, on the bank of Shamakunda, is the Bhajan Kuti of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. Wow. Now there's a little section about Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's Bhajan Kuti. After coming from Jagannath Puri, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami used to live near Sri Radha Kund at Lag Mohan Kunda. Once, during Sri Krishna's manifest pastimes, on the day of the holy festival, Srimati Radhika was sitting here with her girlfriends when Shankachuda unexpectedly seized her and ran away. Can you imagine that? The demon comes and picks up Srimati Radhika and starts running away. So, what happened then? Krishna pursued and killed him, and then removing the jewel from the demon's forehead, who did he give it to?
He gave it to Sridhar or Madhubango, right?
No?
No, he gave it to like
Balaram?
Yes. He gave it to Baladev. Then Baladev in turn gave the jewel into the hands of Dhanishta in order for her to give it to Srimati Radhika. Baladev, Dhanishta, Radhika. Although Sri Das Goswami first used to live at this Lag Mohan Kunda, he later began performing bhajan on the banks of Sri Radha Kunda. So there's two sitting places for him. One day, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was performing his bhajan under the open sky at Radha Kunda, and he was so absorbed that he was not conscious of his body and mind, and streams of tears flowed from his eyes. Occasionally, the words, O Radha, came from his mouth. And at this time, Sri Sanatana Goswami regularly came to see him. So once from a distance, Sri Sanatana Goswami saw a ferocious tiger and tigress walk past Raghunath Das Goswami. Then they went and they drank water from the nearby kunda, and then they returned by the same path as if they had not seen him. But Sri Sanatana Goswami approached Sri Das Goswami, and he very affectionately, like an elder brother, he advised him to perform his bhajan in a hut. So Sri Sanatana had a leaf hut built for Sri Das Goswami, and he instructed him to perform his bhajan there. That hut no longer exists, but a solid one made of cement has been constructed in its place. We'll have to look at the map, because it has all these places marked there on the map. Now near this bhajan kuti, the 5 Pandavas, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Arjun, Nakul, and Sahadev, perform bhajan as trees. Some time ago, these trees became unmanifest and disappeared from our vision. Between this bhajan kuti and the bhajan kuti of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami are the samadhis of Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. North of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's and Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's bhajan kutis is the bhajan kuti of Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. It is said that he wrote some portions of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita here, but most of it was actually written in his bhajan kuti at the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. So, you know where his bhajan kuti is at the Radha Damodar temple?
Near Srila Jiva Goswami.
That's right.
I thought that was his I thought that was his samadhi.
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Jiva Goswami Samadhi.
No, I mean Srila
Oh,
Krishnadas.
no.
Also, is
Bhajan kuti.
Bhajan kuti.
Okay. It is, yeah, I already said that. So nearby, in the northeastern area, is a temple of Sri Gadadhar Chaitanya, and northwest of it is the Sri Radha Govinda temple. One may take darshan of the Jiva Shila of Sri Govardhan near the entrance of this temple. So now we're going to hear about the Jiva Shila. Jiva Shila and other nearby places. After finishing his daily morning ablutions, Sri Das Goswami used to bathe with the water of Gopi Kupa. Kupa means well. Yes, it was situated to the east of Sri Shyamakunda. He would then bathe in Radhakunda. So first he would bathe there, then he would bathe in Radhakund. Now once, while drawing water from Gopi Kupa, he also drew a Govardhan Shila out of the well. And after taking his bath that day, Sri Das Goswami went on his way, but while doing bhajan at night, he took some rest. And in a dream he saw that the Shila was actually the tongue, the jiva of Sri Giriraj. He also received an order from Sri Giriraj to worship the Shila according to the proper method. He had a temple constructed near the entrance of the Govinda Dev temple and arranged for the Shila to be properly worshipped there. This same Shila can be seen there today. After this event, Sri Das Goswami stopped taking bath with the water of Gopi Kupa and had a new well constructed on the eastern bank of Lalita Kunda for bathing. This new well remains there today. Proceeding from here, one arrives at the Kunja of Narahari Sarkar. Then Lalita Kunda is situated on the location of Lalitanandada Kunja, which we read about the other day. Vishaka Kunda and many other kundas are included within Lalita Kunda, but many of them have disappeared. Then come the temples of Sri Radha Vinod Bihariji and Sri Sita Nath. Near Lagmohan Kunda, on the Parikrama path, lies the Samadhi of Sri Rajendra Goswami. He gave up his life at this place in separation from Krishna. Now comes the temple known as the Sri Radha Kunja Bihari Gaudiya Mat. You remember that temple there? Radha Kunja Bihari Gaudiya Mat. So on the western side of Sri Radha Kunda is Sri Radha Kunja Bihari Gaudiya Mat. This is the only, or maybe not the only one now, but this is the original Gaudiya Mat. We'll hear about it here. The deities here, Sri Radha Kunja Bihari, were installed by Jagat Guru Paramahansa Paribrajacacharya Varya Om Vishnupad Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, who propagated pure Vaishnav Dharma and Sri Harinam Sankirtan as practiced and preached by Sriman Mahaprabhu throughout the world. A little further away from Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's Samadhi is the Bhajan Kuti of Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur, renowned as the seventh Goswami, and the Bhajan Kuti of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. Okay, when we would go there, we would go there first before we would, when we arrived on the Parikrama pathway at Radhakund, we would first go to that temple, Radhakunja Bihari Gaudiya Mat. And when Gurudev was with us, he would tell us how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established this temple himself. And he also broadcast certain kind of challenging Katha to the unbonafide Babajis living around Radhakund. And he would challenge them. He would challenge them. And none would come forward. So when Gurudev would come there, he would tell us that when his Guru Maharaj came, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Maharaj, he also went there first and challenged everyone. Because this has been going on for a couple of centuries, that certain very unauthorized and unbona fide persons posing as renunciate Babajis and so forth, they're living there, but they're doing debauch activity. So when Gurudev came, then he himself would also speak in that way. Not long, we would spend maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like that. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ki Jai. Now comes the place called Shiv Khora. Shiv Khora. When coming to the village of Sri Radha Kunda from Uddhava Kunda, Shiv Khora is situated on the right-hand side of the Parikrama path at the entrance to the village. It is said that in ancient times, a lost she-jackal wandered to this place during the day. A lost she-jackal. But the dogs here killed her. Seeing this, the villagers performed her last rites at this place of the she-jackal. And they were struck with wonder when a youthful gopi manifested from the she-jackal's body and ascended into the sky. It is said that a living entity who dies at Sri Radha Kunda attains Goloka Vrindavan. Some hope there. Right? Yeah, there's another story. I don't know if it's here, but there was another. I'm not sure if it was also a jackal, but there was another animal that was also crying out before it died. Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Yeah, there's another story like that. Next kunda is called Malyaharani Kunda. Now Malyaharani Kunda is situated on the western side of Radha Kunda. Srimati Radhika sat in a bower of Madhavi flowers here, and she strung necklaces of pearls. And Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has described this pastime very beautifully in his book called Mukta Charita. You familiar with this pastime? The confidential realizations attained by Mahabhagavatas in deep meditation are completely true and transcendental. Once, during the month of Kartik, on the occasion of the Deepavali festival at Giriraj Govardhan, the Brajvasis were busily absorbed in decorating their cows and other animals with various kinds of ornaments. The gopis also brought various ornaments from their homes to decorate the cows. So Sri Radhika and her girlfriend sat on the Madhavi terrace near the Malyaharani Kunda, making several kinds of beautiful pearl ornaments. Meanwhile, Sri Krishna arrived there, having heard of Srimati Radhika's activities from the mouth of the parrot Vichakshana. And Krishna asked for some pearls. However, Radhika and her gopi friends refused, proudly giving several reasons why they could not give him any. Nonetheless, Sri Krishna insisted, Sakis, if you cannot give me a large quantity of pearls, then at least give me a few with which to decorate my beloved cows Hangsini and Harini. 2 cows, Hangsini and Harini. But the headstrong gopis rejected this request also. Then Lalita collected a palmful of pearls of the very finest quality. She held them out to Krishna and taunted Krishna. Krishna, these pearls that you want to decorate your cows with are most precious. They are not ordinary. Do you understand? Then disappointed, Sri Krishna returned home, where he sulkily took some pearls from Mother Yashoda. He dug holes in the soil near the bank of the Yamuna, put manure in them, and planted the pearls. He then fenced the area to protect the growing plants from animals and birds, and he irrigated the field daily with a large quantity of cow's milk. He asked the gopis to donate some milk for this, but they refused that request as well. All were amazed when, within a few days, each and every pearl began to sprout, and the plants grew right before everyone's eyes, and they began to bear pearl fruit, from which extremely beautiful pearls grew in abundance. And when the gopis went to the bank of the Yamuna to fetch water, they saw this astonishing field of pearls, and they started to whisper among themselves. Sri Krishna happily harvested a huge quantity of pearls, brought them home, and placed them in the lap of his mother. Kanaya, where did you get such excellent pearls? She asked in amazement. And Sri Krishna told her the whole story. Sri Krishna and the Sakhas now began stringing uncountable pearl necklaces for all their cows, and they decorated with these pearl necklaces. These cows began to wander everywhere, and unable to tolerate his success, the gopis secretly brought pearls from their homes, and they began to sow them as Sri Krishna had done. They irrigated the field with an abundance of an abundance of cow's milk, as he did. Their pearls sprouted, but to their surprise, only into thorny creepers. The gopis became worried. They told Sri Krishna what had happened, and they asked him for some of his pearls, but Krishna, the crown jewel of Rasikas, scornfully rejected their request. Finally, he accepted kisses and embraces, and he enjoyed the touch of their transcendental limbs in exchange for his pearls. Malya Harani Kunda received its name by virtue of this confidential pastime. Jai Jai, Shri Malya Harani Kunda ki Jai. Now there's a list here of famous ghats of Sri Radhakund and Sri Shyamakund. So as you're going around, all these different ghats, stairways that go down. First one is Govinda Ghat. This ghat is on the eastern bank of Sri Radhakunda, between the Bhajan Kuti of Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami and the temple of Bihariji. It was here that Sri Sanatana Goswami saw Srimati Radhika playing on a swing and realized in his heart the secret of the phrase Veni Vyalangana Pana in Srila Rupa Goswami's Chatu Pushpanjali, that snake description. Number 2, Manasa Pavana Ghat. This ghat is situated on the northwestern side of Shyamakunda and is very dear to Srimati Radhika. Manasa Pavana. Next, number 3, Pancha Pandava Ghat. This ghat is joined to Manasa Ghat in the northern part of Sri Shyamakunda. The 5 Pandavas in the form of trees disclose themselves to Sri Raghunath Das Goswami above this ghat. Here at the entrance door of the Sri Gadadhar Chaitanya temple is also an old Chohara tree which disclosed to Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that it was actually a Brahmin from Kashi. Number 4, Madhumangal Ghat. Above this ghat is Madhumangal's kunja named Madhumangala Anandada, which Madhumangal offered to which Saki?
Vishaka?
Lalita. Madhumangal offered his kunja to Lalita Devi. Lalita Saki. The sitting place or the baitak of Hitahari Vamsha Goswami is here. Number 5, Jiva Goswami Ghat. Nearby this ghat is Sri Jiva Goswami's Bhajan Kuti, and during his stay here, Sri Jiva Goswami daily bathed at this ghat. Number 6, Gaya Ghat. Another name for this ghat is Dhana Madhava Gera Ghat. Near this ghat is Sri Madhavendra Puri's Baitak and Sri Hari Ram Vyasa's place of bhajan. Number 7, Ashta Saki Ghat. This ghat lies between Gaya Ghat and Tamal Tala. Number 8, Tamal Tala Ghat. This ghat lies on the southern bank of Shamakunda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat underneath a tamal tree here, and he inquired about the kundas from the villagers, who could offer him no information. Instead, they pointed out Kalikate and Gorikate nearby. And Mahaprabhu declared them to be Radhakund and Shamakund and bathed here. So Mahaprabhu, this is how he caused Sri Radhakund and Sri Shamakund, which had been established by Mahārāja Vajranava, to become manifest for the benefit of the world. Later, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami reconstructed them as we see them today. Number 9, Balabha Ghat. This ghat is situated west of Tamal Tala on the southern bank of Shama Kunda. Sri Balabha Acharya sat in the shade of a chohara tree here with his associates, and he glorified both kundas. He remained here for some time, and he bathed at this ghat daily. He would also speak on Śrīmad Bhagavatam here. That's why it's called Balabha Ghat, because of Balabha Acharya. Number 10, Madan Mohan Ghat. South of this ghat is the temple of Sri Madan Mohan. Number 11, Sangama Ghat. Guess what that is? Sangama Ghat. What's the place, what's the name of the strip in between Shamakund and Radhakund? It's called Sangama. It's called the Sangama. So Sangama Ghat. This ghat is situated between Radhakund and Shamakunda. The two kundas meet under this platform. Sangama means meeting. So this is the Yog Peet of the eternal pastimes of the divine couple, Shri Radha Krishna. Vaishnavas first bathe in Radhakunda and then in Shamakunda. It is said that there was an old tamal tree here that disclosed to one devotee that it was Agastya Rishi. Seems like there's a lot of rishis that want to reside in the form of trees. So when we would go to Radhakund, Shamakund with Gurudev, then he would lead us into that area called the Sangama. And then they would perform, first of all, the puja to Radhakunda with Artik and the chanting of what is it? The Radha Kripa Kataksha Stavaraj. Munindra Vrindavandite Triloka Shoka Harani Prasanna Vaktra Pankaje Nikunja Bhuvilasani Rajendra Bhanu Nandini Rajendra Suna Sangate Kada Karishyasi Hamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. So we would sing that whole Stavaraj, and then we would take the water, or even bathing. Some devotees actually went in and bathed. Then we would move to the other side of the Sangama, and we would perform the Artik to Shamakunda, and with flowers and everything. And then devotees would dip in there, or we would take the water on our head. But then we came back to Radhakunda. Yes. And then did full bathing in Radhakunda, and also Shamakunda after. And we would also sing those beautiful songs by Vittala Acharya, those shlokas. Yes. You want to say?
I don't even know that one.
Say?
Shamasundara Sukandashika, Smera Hasya Murali Manohar, Yadika Rasamam Kripanidi, Supriya Chara Kinkaram Kuru.
Yes. And what is the meaning?
4 scrolls. No, I'm just kidding. The meaning is, O Shamasundara, you are very expert in, you have a peacock feather on your head, you're expert in playing the flute, you smile very beautifully, you enjoy having ras with Srimati Radhika, you are also an ocean of mercy.
Yeah.
Please give me the opportunity to be a kinkari at the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika.
Of your Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru. Please allow me to become a kinkari of Swapriya Charana, the lotus feet of your very own beloved, Srimati Radhika. So, okay. No, it's okay. You don't have to apologize. All you have to do is just appear there with a very forlorn look on your face, and my heart melts, and I'm ready to close for the arti. So, anyway, just to summarize, there's a total of 16 kundas, which we got up to number 11. And then there's a map of the Shamakund, Radhakund, with each place that we've just read, numbered on the map. Then there's the Ras Mandalas of Sri Radhakunda, of which there are 6 Ras Mandalas. Then there's the 7 Mahadevs, acting as area protectors, Kshetrapalas of Sri Radhakunda. They're all 7 are there. So that's the end of this chapter, with only some footnotes and shlokas there. So we will complete that tomorrow. Gaur Premanande. Jai Shri Braj Mandala Parikrama Ki Jai. Srila Gurudev's Transcendental Parikrama book Ki Jai. Jai Shri Parikrama Dham Vasigana Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.